Hey, good morning. It's Wednesday. Why? Because, well, we can do this. Yeah, let's talk about it. But what are we talking about? Back in a minute. Hey, good morning. This is Jan from New York City. My channel name is Jan from New York City Saves Money. And I love, love, love helping people to keep some more of their own hard earned money. Welcome to We Can Do It Wednesday. Yes, we can do this. We've got this. We got this covered. This week's installment, we're going to talk today about boundary lines. Now, many of us are familiar with drawing boundary lines that have to do with other people. However, today we're going to take more of an introspective look at self imposed boundary lines. Sometimes we need to draw our own boundary lines for our own personal habits. Question: are you a workaholic? What do I mean by workaholic? You work morning, noon, night. There's no stopping you. There's no time for rest. There's no time for relaxation, no time for family, no time for friends. This is not good. I can tell you this much: anything done, even if it's a good thing, like, working is a good thing, even if it's a good thing, guess what? Anything done excessively at the end of the day turns out not really to be a great thing. Okay, so this is where we may consider and really should implement drawing some boundary lines. For example, there was a time that it was just like devil may care. I would be doing videos morning, noon, and night without any boundary lines for myself. I have since stopped that. What I prefer to do is I'll work X number of hour to X number of hour. And when that ending hour is over, guess what? I'm done. The only exception is when I need to create, let's say, a broadcast where I'm interviewing someone, and that has to remain flexible for the person or persons that I may be interviewing. So I can't always keep it within the parameters of me because of time differences. Somebody may be living 3 hours away and we have to compromise, kind of thing. But for the most part, I absolutely do stop at a certain hour lately. This has been very, very helpful to me because everybody needs a period of time of which they need to clear their mind. Just, like I say, relax, choose to make personal phone calls, visit someone, whatever it is that's, has nothing to do work related. That way, when I do go to work, I could give it my 150%. Now, even if a person is not in business for themselves, or if they're working for someone else, if you're working for someone else, did you notice that even your employer gives boundary lines? Let's think about this for a second. Let's say that your hours are 9 to 5, just using this figuratively. You need to report to your job at 9 o'clock. More than likely, you have a set hour for lunch. More than likely, it's probably anywhere between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m., and you may decide which hour. But you take the 1 hour, okay? The boss is not saying take any old hour and come back any old which way time that you want. Even your employer is saying, no, we have boundary lines. Sometimes people hear boundary lines, they feel, oh, they're very confined in those boundaries. No, it's actually could be a very freeing thing. Now, let's get back to boundary lines that have to do with other people, not just yourself. Okay. Let's suppose that this is just the easiest example to use. I'm only using this as an example. Let's say that you are bombarded with excessive phone calls. I'm not saying you're not enjoying the people that you're on the phone with. I'm not saying that you don't like it, but sometimes that can also be interfering as well. And I'll tell you when. Okay. Personal phone calls, for example, when you are in the middle of your workday, and many people these days work from home. People are choosing more and more not to pay for office space, not to go to someone else's office to get paid or to pay for their space by the use of excessive transportation. People are doing and finding better ways to cut down on their expenses. So many times people are working from their own home. For example, not everyone, but many people are opting that way. Because if you're working online, you can actually take your computer or your phone with you everywhere you go. You don't have to go to someone else's space to do that. You don't have to pay for transportation to do that. And that's a really good thing. But don't get me wrong, a little 5 minute break here or there in between on a personal call is a great thing sometimes. It gives you that mental vacation. However, if there are more than a few people who do not understand that, yeah, just because you're working from home doesn't mean you're not working. You are working, okay? And they only see it from their own perspective. They're only looking at their own one phone call to you, but you, on the other hand, on the other side, as the receiver of the phone call, you may be receiving five, six, seven, or eight, depending on your situation, personal phone calls. With all those phone calls and no boundary lines, question: how do you have time to work? You really don't. So again, we go back to excessivity. So here we go today, because this is a positive place and this is a We Can Do It Wednesday. Ask yourself, are my personal boundaries going overly extended? Let's say in any area of time, whether it's personal phone calls or whatever. Now, when it comes to shopping, even if I'm not doing online shopping, if I'm doing physical shopping outside, I prefer to go alone. I don't prefer to shop with someone else. Why? You might say, "Oh, Jan, that sounds a little lonely." No, I don't like it. I rather actually shop alone, because that way I am not distracted. Now, on occasion, if somebody were to come with me, okay, that's fine. But honestly, my boundary line is I'd rather carve out the time and be alone shopping. I don't know what it is. I could just concentrate better. Anybody out there agree with me that it's a little bit more easier, a lot more easier to shop on your own? So let me know. I am curious to know, and let me know in the comment section below if there are any areas of, for example, boundary lines that you may decide to draw, or things are okay. You don't need to draw any boundary lines at all. Another thing, like, for example, exercise time. I consider my exercise time very important to me. So I may plan ahead, not saying it always works, but I may carve out a certain hour, of which I plan to do my physical exercise, because it's just an important thing to do for your physical health, for your mental health. It's really important to carve out some of that me time. But this is, like I say, We Can Do This Wednesday. Sit down and ask yourself, what area of your life should you draw a boundary line to if it's just becoming too much? Even if it has nothing to do with anyone else and only yourself, is there something going on that's in excess, that's interfering with your normal balance of your life in general? Just sit down and take a minute and do it. You know why? Because this is a We Can Do It Wednesday. All right, everybody, listen, you have yourself an amazing day. And if you found any value in this video, please do this. Have an amazing, fantastic day. Take good care now. Bye-bye.